Welcome to Money Muscle Mindset, the podcast designed to motivate and educate you on your journey to financial and fitness success and to develop the mentality needed to achieve your goals. I'm your host, Zay Molina, and today, guys, we're going to talk about what I believe are the two keys to success no matter what we want to achieve in this life. And I know some people, they're coming on here, they want to look for that secret ingredient. They want to look for that shortcut that's going to help you achieve success. But I'm here to tell you guys, through my personal experience, through people that I've known, through celebrities and athletes and all this different type of research, what it really comes down to, guys, is discipline and consistency. Having discipline, being consistent day in and day out, guys, working hard, working on our craft, that is what's going to help you be successful. And I know that's not the answer that a lot of people are probably looking for on this episode, but I'm here to tell you guys, there's no shortcuts. There's no secret ingredient. There's nothing that's going to, just help us get over the hump a lot quicker, right? It's about putting in the work. It's about working hard every single day, doing the things that we don't want, getting out of our comfort zone and doing it day in and day out, right? So discipline and consistency are today's topic, guys. And we're going to dive a little deeper into what it actually means to be disciplined, to be consistent every day. And we're going to talk about how it can help you achieve success. So let's first talk about discipline, right? So there's so many different ways that we can take this word and the definition of this word, but I really want to focus on discipline, meaning that we need to be doing the things that need to be done, even if we don't want to, right? Anything that we want to do, maybe we don't want to go to the gym today, but we know we need to be able to get in shape, right? Maybe we don't want to meal prep this week, right? But we understand that we need to be able to eat healthy for the week, make sure we're not, finding excuses to eat out whenever, right? We have our meal prep at home. We're going to go in, we're going to eat that, right? Understanding that, hey, I don't necessarily want to work on my side hustle today, but if I want to quit my 9-to-5 job, I need to work on that right now so I can get out of this quicker and sooner than later, right? We got to be doing the things that get us out of our comfort zone, right? And we got to be able to delay gratification. So many times in this world, guys, we find ourselves having instant gratification, doing the things that are going to bring us joy just in the moment, right? But we got to think about the long term. What are you doing to help yourself, reach your long-term goals, reach your dream, right? What are we doing in the moment now that's going to help us in the future, right? And that's the idea behind discipline, doing those things that's going to help us have long-term success and essentially not necessarily focused on the short-term success, right? We're focused on pushing along to go after those long-term goals, right? So for example, guys, if you're looking about this, like getting in shape, you got to go to the gym. You got to eat healthy, right? You may not feel like it in the moment. It's so easy to have a cheat meal. I'm guilty of it myself, where I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to cook today. Let's go out and let's go get some fast food. Let's go get something that's a lot easier, a lot quicker, right? We're all guilty of that. Right. But it takes the discipline to meal prep. Takes the discipline to cook at home, eat your healthy food. It takes the discipline to get up and go to the gym 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week. Right. You got to have that discipline to say, hey, I'm going to do it no matter what. Right. Even if I don't feel like it, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go. Right. And that's the idea. Right. Maybe you're trying to run a marathon. Right. If you're trying to run a marathon, what's going to happen? You can't just show up and say, hey, I'm going to run, just when I feel like it. Because one, you're probably never going to feel like it. Two, it's not going to be enough to get you in shape for that marathon, right? You got to go after it. You got to say, hey, you know what? I want to run a marathon. I'm going after it. I'm going to, I'm going to push myself to get my running shoes on, go outside and run when I need to so I can start developing this endurance. I can start developing the stamina that I need to actually be able to run this marathon when the time comes, right? You got to put in the work. You got to stay disciplined, right? And so that's the idea when it comes to, having the discipline is, again, that delayed gratification, doing the things now that may be hard, but later on it's going to make things a lot easier. And that's the goal. That's what we want, right? And so, when it comes down to finances too, you got to think about it. If your goal is to save a lot of money, right? You're like, hey, I need to save up for maybe this vacation, or I need to save up for my rainy day fund, right? I need to save up for whatever it is that you need, right? What do you got to do? It can't just be like, well, I'll save every once in a while. I'll save when I have the money and I'm able to do so, right? Your goal is to say, hey, I need to save up for this, whether it's, a luxury, whether it's a necessity. I need to start saving up for this, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting, 10% of my paycheck away every single time. And that actually comes from the book of The Richest Man in Babylon. If you guys have ever read that book, it's a very phenomenal book. If you haven't, I recommend it. I have it right here with me, right? And so this book here, in one of the chapters, one of the early chapters, one of the steps that the man talks about of how he became the richest man in Babylon was that whatever his wage was, he always saved 10% of whatever it is. Even if you're short, let's say you do your budget and you realize, hey, just for example, just clean, easy numbers, I need to make $1,000 a month. Okay. Well, right now I'm only making $800 a month, right? But once I make $1,000 a month, I'm able to save, right? No. And that's the idea that comes from this book, is that no matter what, you want to have the discipline to say, hey, I'm going to pay myself first. So every time I make, money, right? Again, let's say I'm making only $800 a month, I'm going to save 10% towards my, to my goal, right? So I'm going to save, put $80 of that $800 check, right, towards my goal, no matter what. And what that does, guys, is that's very hard, right? Especially if you're not making enough to actually achieve your goals to fit your budget. But the idea behind it is you're automatically paying yourself first, and you're being disciplined to say that I'm going to cut back on my expenses, right? By doing so, it's limiting my funds, it's limiting to what I have, and it's going to push me harder to, one, to make more money. Two, it's going to allow me to say, hey, I can cut back on the things that I don't need. And it's going to allow me to push myself out of my comfort zone and push myself to achieve my goals, which is that $1,000 a month, right? So that's just one example of, diving deeper into how can we be disciplined. We need to go after those goals. We need to delay our gratification, focus on the long term rather than the short term. Okay. And so essentially, guys, we got to make those difficult decisions to say we need to do what's necessary, right? Let's say, on the weekends, you love just, hanging out at home, binge watching Netflix or watching NFL football games all Sunday long, right? But you understand that, hey, I need to make more money. I got to do this. I got to work on my side hustle. I got to do whatever it is. So maybe you cut back on the Netflix. Maybe you cut back on watching all the football games. Maybe you only watch your team, right? Give yourself, still enjoy life, but understanding that we need to make some sacrifices. And that's where the discipline sets in for us to go and achieve our goals, is by, again, not focusing on the short-term gratification, but the long-term goals of what we're trying to achieve, right? And so there's actually been a research study. Okay, this was actually published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Okay, a few psychologists by the last names of Mischel, Shoda, and Rodriguez back in 1990. Guys, what they did pretty much in their study was they took a bunch of children and they demonstrated self-discipline and delayed gratification, right? They focused on these children, going out, doing stuff they needed to get done rather than having that short-term, enjoyment, right? So these kids were able to put in the work, start achieving, success, whether it was homework or any just type of chores, something like that they needed to do right now, versus another group of kids where they said, hey, be a kid, right? Have fun, do whatever, right? And what they did is they follow these kids all the way to adulthood, and they realized the kids that put in self-discipline, they had delayed gratification. Guys, what they did is they actually grew up to be more successful in their academic and professional careers, guys. And what does that mean, right? It seems pretty obvious, right? But the idea is they've proven that this works, right? Putting in the discipline now allows you to have, a hard life now, but an easy life later, right? Versus having an easy life now and then a hard life later, right? That quote has been proven to be true through studies like this. And that's the idea that we want, guys. Putting in the work now is going to help us have an easier life later on, right? So that's the idea behind discipline. Doing the things that we don't want to, again, that we need to do, but that even when we don't want to, right? And so that's the idea behind discipline. Now, we need to also pair that, though, with consistency, okay? Having, consistency and being consistent, guys, is really just being the act of doing something over and over, right? Showing up day in and day out, doing the things that we need to do, right? There's the discipline, even if we don't want to, but also doing it every single day. And by pairing those two, guys, it's a formula for success, right? And that's what we're trying to do. We want to show up every single day. You can't just go to the gym once and expect to have six-pack abs, right? You can't just go to the gym once and expect to lose all the weight that you're trying to lose. You can't just eat healthy once and expect to lose that weight, right? That's the kind of ideas. You can't just save money once, work one day, and expect to have all this type of money. You got to put in the work every single day, right? Again, having that discipline to show up, and then you got to do it over and over and over again, right? That's the key. That's the key to success, guys. That's what I believe, fully to my extent, is by putting in the work day in and day out, you will achieve success by doing the stuff that needs to be done over and over again, right? And so, you may not see results right away, right? And we understand that. You can't just go to the gym, do a couple sit-ups, and expect to have a six-pack, right? You got to understand that it's showing up, doing it over and over, and just, by having that discipline to show up, doing it over and over, having success, that's going to help you achieve success, right? By developing those habits. That's the key. By doing this with discipline and consistency, you're going to develop some habits, okay? Now, think of it like, compound interest. If you guys have ever traded before, if you guys, have taken any of my courses or anything like that, and you guys understand that the power of compound interest, right? You got to do it over and over again. You can't just win one trade. I mean, technically you can win one trade and be a millionaire, right? But the odds of that are not very likely, just like the odds of winning the lottery, okay? You got to put in, proper risk management, follow a trading strategy, having the discipline to follow a trading strategy, but doing it over and over again and watching your account grow over time. This is why we focus on percentages and risk management, all this kind of stuff that allows you guys to continue to grow over time. And that's the key. Again, consistency is all about over time, giving it the proper amount of time, doing it over and over again, right? It's just like, again, excuse me. Again, you can't expect to just work out once and be in the best shape of your life. You got to do it over and over. Okay. And I love this analogy here as well. Think about it like brushing your teeth. Okay. Every single day, we try to brush our teeth once or twice a day, or at least I hope you do. Right. And so by brushing your teeth twice a day, right, you start to see that your teeth are getting clean, they're staying clean, right. And you're able to, whiten them up, all this kind of stuff. But if you skip one day, does your teeth automatically rotten and fall out? Absolutely not. Right. We understand that if you continue to skip day after day over and over, what's going to happen? Then your teeth are going to start getting gross. They're going to start falling out, all this kind of stuff. You're going to have cavities, everything like that, right? And just vice versa. If you never brush your teeth and you just brush them once, they're not going to be sparkling white, right? You have to do it over and over again and have that consistency. And, I would say most people don't necessarily want to brush their teeth. That's where the discipline kicks in, and doing it over and over is where we're being consistent and be able to keep our teeth clean. And that's the same thing we want to attack our goals with, right? We understand that, hey, if I want to create a podcast, for example, I know I got to show up, I got to record these episodes, I got to plan everything, I got to do the research, I got to have everything set up so that I'm able to start the recording and be able to talk on these calls, right? That's exactly what we're doing with everything that we want to do. Okay, maybe you want to start a side hustle, maybe you want to build a website, right? Maybe you want to learn graphic design. Whatever it is, guys, you got to be able to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice, going to the movies tonight, and I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to study. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. I need to practice, back test, whatever it is that we're trying to achieve, guys. We got to make that decision to do the things that may not seem fun now, but they're going to make life fun later on. Okay. And so, let's talk about a few examples, right? Think about, celebrities. Think about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? You think he got that big overnight? Absolutely not, right? We know he put in the work, we put in, the time and the diet, right? The diet he has is absolutely insane. He's super strict about his diet to achieve his success in his physique, right? Think about actors, right? The one that really shocks me, if you guys have seen Deadpool 3 with Wolverine, right? Essentially, Hugh Jackman, right? He went from, not doing this role anymore, sitting at home, doing his own other movies or whatever he was doing at the time, but he wasn't in Wolverine shape. So when they asked him to do this, he had to get back into Wolverine shape. It wasn't just like, hey, you're automatically in shape, let's get back into this role. He had to get back into that shape and doing it over time. And by doing some research, guys, I actually found out that Hugh Jackman, to get back into the shape, took about 6 to 8 months, right? Actually took a little bit longer than they expected because there was some kind of delayed with the production, but it took about 6 to 8 months for him to achieve the physique of Wolverine again. And by doing so, he did it for, again, 6 to 8 months, and he ate 6,000 calories a day. 6,000 calories a day, guys. That is absolutely a lot, right? If you ever tried bulking before, you're trying to eat a calorie surplus. It's hard. And I've never seen anybody that's had that many calories a day. And for him to do that, eating clean, not just like junk food. He ate, lean meats, he ate vegetables, rice, all this kind of stuff to get in that physique, guys, for 6 to 8 months, right? I'm sure at some point, at least when he first started, for sure, he wasn't able to eat that much right away, right? He had to build up to, I'm sure it wasn't very easy for him to eat that many calories every single day, but that's where the discipline kicked in, right? He knew that, hey, I got to be Wolverine. I got to be it by this time. I'm going to kick in. I'm going to dive in, right? Go all the way in. And I'm going to, no matter what, I need to eat these 6,000 calories today. That was day one, right? And guess what? He had to do it over and over again for 6 to 8 months to be in the Wolverine shape to create the great movie that we saw with Deadpool and Wolverine, right? And by doing so, guys, he was able to achieve that goal. And that's the same thing we need to do, guys. We need to go out and eat 6,000 calories a day. No, I'm just kidding. But we need to do whatever it is our goal is. We need to go out and achieve that, right? We need to find whatever it is that we need to do, have that discipline, have that consistency to achieve our goals, okay? And another great example of this is thinking about Atomic Habits, right, by James Clear, right? In this book, guys, he talks about getting 1% better every single day, not just 1% better overall, and great, you hit your goal, right? No, 1% better every single day is going to help us achieve our goals, guys. And by improving 1% every single day, you become about 37% times better in 1 year, guys. And that's phenomenal, right? To be able to see that success over time, not overnight, over time. And that is the goal. We want to develop, we want to grow into the person that we want to become, whether we, whatever we're trying to do, guys. By doing that, by, staying consistent, staying disciplined, that's going to help achieve our goals over time, guys. Again, unfortunately, there's no hidden secret. There's no, secret ingredient, nothing like that, guys. It's about showing up, doing the things that we don't want to do over and over again. Okay. So with that being said, guys, that's what I got for you here today on this episode. Again, being disciplined, being consistent to achieve our goals, guys. Those are the two keys to success that I fully believe. And that's what I'm trying to do in my life. And I hope you guys try to do the same. So with that being said, guys, I hope this episode helped you guys out. And I want to leave you guys as I always do. Remember, success isn't just about the money you make or the muscles you build. It's also about the mindset you develop along the way. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys for watching this episode of Money Muscle Mindset. I'll see you on the next one.